Folks, I have made several videos leading up to and after the signing of the bank deregulation bill signed into law on May 24th. And I said that that bill was going to have a very significant impact on the banking sector, a very positive impact on the banking sector for one specific reason, and that is a change in the rules regarding bank leverage ratios and reserve deposits. Okay, and I'm not going to go into it in detail on this video. I've explained it many times to my subscribers. If you want to find out more about it, please go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. However, I will give you this freebie. It is a very positive development for the banking sector, which has not yet begun to be reflected in bank stocks. However, that will happen, and that will happen in a profound way. I am telling you right now that the banking sector, with the enactment of this deregulation into law, which happened on May 24th when Trump signed the bill, the banking sector is now probably the most undervalued sector of the entire stock market, of the entire economy, okay? Now, this bill targets banks of a specific size. You have to know that as well, because if you just run out willy-nilly and buy bank stocks, you may not be buying the right one. Now, I put together a list for my subscribers. Right after that bill was signed, I put together a list of bank stocks which fall in the criteria that will be most affected in a positive way by the deregulation. Again, if you want that list, go to my website, pitbulleconomics.com, and sign up for a 30-day free trial of MMT Trader. So there is significant upside in front of us with regard to the banking sector as a result of this deregulation. Okay, and that's about all I want to say on that right now. Now I want to switch to a broader topic. For those of you who have known me for any length of time, or if you follow me sometimes here on these videos that I make, and certainly on my Facebook page, you know that I'm not one of these rah-rah, jingoistic, America is fantastic kind of guys. I tell it like it is. There's a lot that I feel is wrong with this country. I do not like the wars, the constant wars, the excessive militarism, the massive amounts of money that we spend on defense, the surveillance of citizens of this country and citizens all over the world, the police state situation in the United States. There's a lot of things that I don't like. Okay, this constant preaching of monetary lack, financial lack, as if we don't have financial resources, yet trillions thrown at wars and defense and the military, all that stuff I don't like. However, there are some things that I think are truly great about the United States. The United States, and that is the fact that the United States is set up in such a way so that it is easy for everybody to become rich if you know how to play the game. All right, very easy. Easier here than any other country in the world. And that's because in the United States, we have created an ownership society. All right, and by that I mean you need to own assets, and you could start very small. If you do this over a lifetime, you don't even need a lifetime, but if you do this over time, the accumulation of assets, whether that is stocks or a business or real estate or businesses or real estate, if you think, let me just talk a little bit about the flip side of that. If you think that you can work for a living and become rich, you are just fooling yourselves. You are deluding yourselves, okay? However, this is an ownership society. If you own, and the whole entire system is set up to own, it's set up for you to own real estate. It's set up for you to own stocks. It's set up for you to get into business. It's very easy to start a business in this country. You don't have to invent anything new. All right? You don't have to be Steve Jobs. You don't have to be somebody who invents something new. You basically own. And you can do it in the stock market. Look at Warren Buffett. He's like what? The third or the fourth richest guy in the whole entire world. He has invented nothing. Like the old line from the original movie Wall Street, the best movie Wall Street, where Gordon Gekko says, I create nothing, I own. Now, you may not agree with that is a good way to build a society. I might even agree with you on that, all right? I think innovation is fantastic. And just sheer ownership definitely has its negative side, but who am I to say anything? I'm not the one who has the ability or the power to change the way the society is structured. That's the way it's set up. That's the way the game is set up. If you understand the game, and it's really a shame that they don't teach this in schools. This is probably the most important thing aside from reading. I've always said to my kids, the most important thing you need to learn in school is how to read. Because if you know how to read, the information is all out there for you, especially nowadays with the internet. Information is readily available. You have to have an open mind. You have to know how to read. But aside from that, if they just taught this one thing, ownership, since to start at a very early age. I used to give talks. And I would show people that if you took a newborn baby at the moment that it is born and just invest $50 a month for that baby, if the parents did that, and most people can afford $50 a month, it's not extravagant. By the time that baby is 65, and obviously the baby at some age would take over those contributions to its investment account, if you invested $50 a month in the stock market in a simple index that follows the market, that baby would have millions of dollars at the time of its retirement at the age of 65. They don't teach that. It's a very simple thing. Time makes you rich, and the ownership of assets. And by the way, if you just tweak that system very, very simply by buying when the stock market has corrections, and most people, it sounds simple, but most people do the opposite. They panic and they sell out, and that's why they never make any money. Ownership, folks. Now, I have people write to me or they're on my report and then they say, you know what, Mike, I want to cancel because I decided I don't want to invest in the stock market anymore. That's the stupidest thing in the world, and it says that you don't want to accumulate wealth. Even if you do it on a small scale, it doesn't matter. I've taken accounts on very small amounts of money and built them up in many, many multiples of what they were to start. And if you start this at a young age, the sky is the limit of how much wealth you can accumulate. And of course, there's also real estate. There's also buying businesses or owning businesses, but that's kind of hard because you got to get into management. The beauty of the stock market is the way it's set up, the way the game is set up. It's set up absolutely for the sole purpose of you to get in and accumulate. Now, people use it to gamble. They use it to trade in and out, and they think that's not the way to create wealth. The way to amass, I shouldn't say create wealth, but to amass wealth is to accumulate assets. And you could do that so easily in the stock market. And when you say, I decided I don't need the report anymore because I decided not to invest in the stock market. That's fine. I don't care. But you are just, whether that's true or not, that might be just an excuse that was made up. But that's the stupidest thing in the world. Maybe some of you can't afford to buy a home. Maybe you can afford to buy a home, but you can't get a mortgage, whatever the case may be. Everybody can participate in the stock market, even if you buy one share of an inexpensive stock and just build on that over time. Again, we get back to this notion of time that you don't want to wait. You're impatient. You want the riches to fall in your hands next week. Some of you want it to fall in your hands tomorrow. You can't wait. You need it now. There's that concept of neediness again. You're too important to wait, right? Why can't people wait? They can't wait. The people who can't wait are the ones who feel they're too important to wait. Some people maybe are too important to wait. Maybe the president, maybe the CEO of a big company. I don't know. But most of us are, I hate to tell you this, we're not too important that we can't wait. And that's the secret, folks. It's right there in front of your noses. That is the secret. Once you drop that air of self-importance, once you drop that overinflated ego, I'm too important to wait. I need the riches right now. I deserve it right now. You're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. It's not that the market owes you nothing, okay? It's what you owe to yourself, and how do you achieve that? So anyway, this is a great country. Forget about Make America Great. It already is great if you want to know that this is the place where anybody can accumulate wealth very, very easily. You could do it in the stock market. You could do it in real estate. You could do it by owning businesses. The key word I use there is ownership. We have created in the United States of America, we meaning generations of people, all right, us as citizens, as voters, as policymakers, we have, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's a good system or not, and there's, believe me, there's in a lot of ways I would agree with you if you said that's the wrong way to do things. You know, it shouldn't be about ownership. It should be about creation. It should be about innovation. Yes, and that goes on too, but mainly America is the place where you gotta own stuff to become rich, and the whole entire game is set up for ownership. And the easiest way to embark on that journey is the stock market. So if you say, I don't need this report anymore because I decided I don't want to invest in stocks, then basically what you have decided, if it's true, maybe it's just a story because you don't want to pay for the report, I don't care, but if it's true, you're actually saying, I don't want to accumulate wealth. Maybe you have another plan. I don't know. Maybe you bought a business. Maybe you're thinking of buying a business. I could understand that. But if it's just like, I don't feel like doing it because it went up and down in the first 6 months of this year and I don't like that. And 6 months is like, woo, that's too much for me to handle, even though what's the average lifespan of a person here? 78, 80 years old. 80 years, folks. You know how much wealth you can accumulate in that time? And the whole game is set up so that can happen for you. The whole entire game is set up in your favor if you understand the rules. It's easy. It's so easy. It is unbelievable. I mean, do you understand? And by the way, even if you're not living in the United States, you don't have to live here. You just take advantage of how the game is set up. You play the game here. Everyone could do it. It needs to be taught. Maybe not, because we don't want, then everybody will have that ability. I don't see what's wrong with that. I mean, but I just want to let you know. That's the game here. America already is great in that regard. I don't like the militarism. I don't like the constant war. I don't like the trillions we spend on military and defense. I don't like this constant preaching of financial lack and abundance only for a small few. I don't like mass surveillance. I don't like the police state. There's a lot of things I don't like. I don't like the mass consumerism. But if you want to get rich, this is the place to do it. Bye.